Episode 14. The title of the radio-enabled learning course is Energy Physics. In this episode, we will discuss about wet process and dry process. Biogas is produced by the bacterial decomposition of wet sewage, sludge, animal dung, or green plants in the absence of oxygen. Feedstocks like wood shaving, straw, and refuse may be used, but digestion can take much longer. The natural decay process, anaerobic decomposition, can be speeded up by using thermally insulated airtight tank with a stirrer unit and heating system. The gas collects in the digester tank above the slurry and can be pipped off continuously. At optimum temperature, that means 35 degrees Celsius, complete decomposition of animal or human feces takes around 10 days. Gas yields depend critically on the nature of the waste. Pig manure, for example, is better than cow dung or household refuse. Each kilogram of organic material, that means dry weighted, can be expected to yield 450 to 500 liters of biomass at atmospheric pressure in a modern batch or continuous feed unit. 1.5 to 2 digester volume of gas per day. The residue left after digestion is valuable fertilizer. It is also rich in protein and could be dried and used as animal feed supplement. Next one is fermentation. As stated, ethanol, that means ethyl alcohol, is produced by fermentation of sugar solution by natural yeast. After about 30 hours of fermentation, the brew contains 6 to 10% alcohol, and this can readily be removed by distillation. Traditionally, the fibrous residues from plant crops like sugarcane bagasse have been burned to provide the heat. Suitable feedstocks include crushed sugarcane and beet fruit, etc. Sugar can also be manufactured from vegetable starch and cellulose. Maize, wheat grains, and potatoes, for example, must be ground or pulped and then cooked with enzymes to release the starch and convert into a fermentable sugar. Cellulose material like wood, paperwaste, or straw require harsher pre-treatment, typically milling and hydrolysis with hot acids. 1 ton of sugar will produce up to 5 to 0 liters of alcohol. A ton of grain 350 liters, and ton of wood an estimate 260 to 540 liters. After fermentation, the residue from grain and other feed stuff contains high protein content and is useful cattle feed supplement. The hydrolysis and distillation steps require a high energy input. For woody feedstock, direct combustion and pyrolysis is probably more productive at present, although steam treatment and new low energy enzymatic hydrolysis techniques are under development. The energy requirement for distillation is also likely to be cut dramatically. Alcohol can be separated from the beer by many methods which are now under intensive development. These include solvent extraction, reverse osmosis, molecular sieves, and use of new desiccants for alcohol drying. It may soon be possible to have the energy required for alcohol production to produce a greater net energy gain. Next one is chemical reduction. Chemical reduction is the least developed of the wet biomass conversion process. It involves pressure cooking animal wastage or plant cellulose slurry with an alkaline catalyst in the presence of carbon monoxide at temperatures between 250 degrees Celsius and 400 degrees Celsius. Under this condition, the organic materials is converted into a mixture of oil with yield approaching 50%. If the pressure is reduced and temperature increased, the product is highly calorific value gas. Next we move on to other important topic, dry process. In this dry process, first we will discuss about pyrolysis. A wide range of energy rich fuel can be produced by roasting dry woody matter like straw and wood chips. The material is fed into a reactor vessel or retort in pulverized or filtered form and heated in absence of air. Air would cause the products of pyrolysis to ignite. As the temperature rises, the cellulose and lignin break down to simpler substances which are dried off, leaving a char residue behind. This process has been used for centuries to produce charcoal. The end products of the reaction depend critically on the conditions employed at lower temperature. Around 500 degree organic liquid dominant temperatures near 1000 degrees Celsius mixture of gases results. Next one is liquefaction. Liquid yields are maximized by rapid heating of feedstock to comparatively low temperature. The vapors are condensed from the gas stream and these separate into a two-phase liquor. The aqueous phase contains a soap of water soluble organic material like acetic acid, acetone and methane, that means wood alcohol. The non-aqueous phase consists of oil and tar. These crude products can be burned with some difficulties, but it is usually more profitable to upgrade them to premium fuel by conventional refining technique. Other pyrolysis products include fuel gas, essentially carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and carbon char. The gas is generally burned to maintain the temperature of the reactor. The chalk can be manufactured into briquette for use as solid fuel. Pyrolysis can also be carried out in the presence of small quantities of oxygen, that means gasification, water, that means steam gasification, or hydrogen, that means hydrogenation. Next we move on to gasification. Pyrolysis of wet biomass produces fuel gas and very little liquid. An alternative technique for maximizing gas yields is to blow small quantities of air or oxygen into the reactor vessel and to increase the temperature to over 1000 degrees Celsius. This causes part of the feed to burn. Fuel gas from air-blown gasifier has a low calorific value and many contains up to 40% inert nitrogen gas. Overall yield of 80 to 85% can expected. Fuel gas from oxygen feed system has a medium calorific value. This gas can either be burned or converted into substitute natural gas, that means methane or methanol by standard catalytic process. Methanol yield of around 50% can be achieved from biomass. Next we move on to steam gasification. Methane is produced directly from woody matter by treatment at high temperature and pressures. with hydrogen gas. The hydrogen can be added or more commonly generated in the reactor vessel from carbon monoxide and steam. Recent analysis suggests that steam gasification is the most efficient route to methanol. Net energy yields of 55% can be achieved, although higher yields are likely in the future as the technology is developed. Hydrogenation. Under less served conditions of temperature and pressure, carbon monoxide and steam react with cellulose to produce heavily oils which can be separated and refined to premium fuels. Many countries are actively developing commercial process for biomass liquefaction and gasification. Next, we will move on to another important concept of biomass is photosynthesis. The most important chemical reaction on the earth is reaction of sun and green plants. Radiant energy of sun is absorbed by the green pigment chlorophyll in the plant and is stored within the plant in the form of chemical bond energy. Photosynthesis in the plants is an example of biological conversion of solar energy into sugars and starch, which are energy rich components. So if plant fast growing trees have high photosynthesis efficiency, we can harvest and burn them to produce steam in similar manner as in thermal power station. Ultimates to produce the electric power, such an energy plantation would be renewable source and an economical means of harnessing solar energy. However, photosynthesis concepts are less attractive as the average efficiency of solar energy conversion in plants is about 1%, and the overall efficiency of conversion sunlight to electricity would be about 0.3% compared to 10% of photovoltaic cells. The process photosynthesis is extremely complex and not yet completely understood by scientists. In Greek, photo means light and synthesis means combination. In this reaction, water and CO2 molecule broken down and carbohydrate is formed with the release of pure oxygen. The process can be expressed CO2 plus H2O plus light plus chlorophyll gives H2CO whole 6 plus O2 plus chlorophyll. 6CO2 plus 12 H2O gives C6H12O6 plus 6H2O plus 6O2. The absorbed light is in the ultraviolet and infrared range. Visible light having a wavelength below 700 angstrom is absorbed by the green chlorophyll, which becomes activated by passes its energy onto the water molecule. A hydrogen atom is then released and reacts with the carbon dioxide molecule to produce H2CO and oxygen. H2CO is the basic molecule forming carbohydrate stable at low temperature. It breaks at high temperature, releasing an amount of heat equal to 112,000 calories per mole. H2CO plus O2 gives carbon dioxide, that means CO2 plus H2O plus 112 K calories per molecule. The absorbed energy of photon should be at least equal to this amount. It is therefore possible to produce large amount of carbon dioxide, carbohydrate by growing, say, algae under optimum condition in plastic tubes or in ponds. The algae could be harvested, dried and burned for production of heat. that could be converted into electricity by conventional method. Thus, the photosynthesis consists in building up of simple carbohydrates such as sugar, etc. In the green leaf, in the presence of light, the oxygen liberated is from H2O molecule and not from CO2. This process is called as carbon fixation and carbon assimilation. Photosynthesis is essentially as reduction and oxidation process. The process of photosynthesis has two main steps. First one is splitting of H2O molecule into H2 and O2 under the influence of chlorophyll and sunlight. This phase of reaction is called the light reaction. In this phase of reaction, light absorbed by chlorophyll causes photolysis of water. CO2 escapes and H2 is transformed into some unknown compounds. Thus, solar energy is converted into potential chemical energy. The second one is hydrogen is transferred from this unknown compound to CO2 to form starch or sugar. Formation of starch or sugar are dark reaction not requiring sunlight. This condition necessary for photosynthesis are light. One of the important input of biomass production is the intensity of solar radiation. Only a part of this energy, 40 to 45%, is of the appropriate wavelength 400 to 700 Armstrong unit to produce photosynthesis. The plant use radiation between 400 to 700 Armstrong unit. Only a part of this energy is actually used in photosynthesis. This range of light is called photosynthetically active radiation. That means PAR. The upper limit of the photosynthesis efficiency is about 5%. CO2 concentration. Carbon dioxide is the primary raw material for photosynthesis. CO2 constitutes about 0.03% of the atmosphere. However, if CO2 availability is increased artificially, linear increase in the yield of several crops up to a limit have been observed. Hence, one of the methods of increasing biomass is by supplying additional of CO2 to the plant. The main source of the CO2 are animal respiration, combustion of fuel. The major source is the decay of organic matter by bacteria, and ocean also an important store of CO2, much of which comes from photosynthesis by plants, respiration of marine plants, and animal releases CO2 into the water. The next one is temperature. Photosynthesis restricted to the temperature range which can be tolerated by proteins, that means 0 degree Celsius to 60 degree Celsius. Although the photochemical part is not affected by temperature, but biochemical part controlled by enzymes is highly sensitivity to temperature. Then we move on to photosynthetic efficiency. Efficiency of solar energy utilization by biomass route obviously is very important parameter. The energy stored in the plants by way of carbon fixation in the form of chemical bond energy, when expressed as a fraction of total insolation falling on the plant, it is called as photosynthetic efficiency. This can be explained by taking a specific case as follows. Let us consider that the energy received by the surface at sea level is 100%. Solar energy received equal to 100%. Photosynthetically active radiation PAR is 50% of the solar energy received. Losses due to transmission and reflection from the leaf surface is about 10% of solar energy received. Net energy available is 40% of solar energy received. 23% of net available energy is converted into carbon fixation, is about 23% of net energy, that is equal to 9.2. 40% of the fixed carbon energy is again lost due to simultaneous respiration process, which is just the reverse process of photosynthesis. Final net trapped energy 0.6 into 9.2, that means it is equal to 5.52% of insolation. This table gives only the specific case. However, in literature we find the photosynthetic efficiency have been quoted from 0.1 to 5%. The variation is mainly because of two reasons. First one is there is wide variation in efficiency from plant to plant. There are two bases which are being used for calculation of efficiencies. Some people calculate it on the basis of yearly insolation, independent of the duration of maturity of a given crop. For example, even if a particular crop matures in 3 months, the chemical energy stored is presented as fractional of the total insolation throughout 12 months. On the other hand, some efficiencies started are based upon insolation received only in the duration of maturation of a particular crop. Thank you. We will discuss another topic in next episode.